Coming up next, it's the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, and what an amazing show we have for you this week. So much to talk about in the world of professional wrestling. We've got a detailed story on who is WWE's next big thing. What did Hulk Hogan have to say to a radio station in Australia, and why TNA might want to be concerned about it? We go in-depth on Sheamus, and we have Versus and our Star of the Week. All that and so much more coming up right now on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime.
Number one since 1998 on television, ESPN Radio, and the World Wide Web. This is the Pro Wrestling Report with your hosts, the man they call Meathead, Frank Cosentino, and Damian Nelson. Professional wrestling news, opinion, and information from fans for fans.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. It's the Friday Night Delight.
It is. We are.
Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, Meathead, and Frank Cosentino. The Cos, neither able to join us this week. The Cos is riding high because, our video that we did last Sunday after the WWE Survivor Series, over 25,000 viewers, top of the YouTube charts all over the world. So he's, Frank knows when to show up.
He's a YouTube sensation.
It was contract negotiations, so he showed up and showed what he delivers, and
it was the free pizza. Come on.
Or maybe he's home thinking about our guest from this past Tuesday's ESPN radio show, ODB, TNA Knockouts champion.
That's why Meathead's home.
I thought he was suspended.
You can't say those things on the air.
You can't do that on television?
No, well, you can't do what you were doing, first of all.
What a show we have for you, as we said just a moment ago. A lot to talk about Dave Hero, especially coming off the heels of the Survivor Series last Sunday, which we'll review in-depthly, and the big 3-hour Raw, which had so many newsworthy moments this past Monday night.
I thought it was one of the most compelling Raws in quite a while.
And we'll get to that a little bit later, but let's start it off with talking about the next big thing in WWE. You haven't heard those words, really, since Brock Lesnar in WWE, but now we've got literally the next big thing, and apparently his name is Sheamus.
He's a star. He's a stud.
I won the WWE Breakthrough. All of it.
Not all of it. At least for the next 7 months.
He won the Breakthrough Battle Royal this past Monday night on Raw. We've seen him train, just bulldoze so many superstars over the last few weeks, and now it has come to fruition as he has the main event matchup at TLC on pay-per-view, a tables match with John Cena. The question, Dave Hero, is this too soon? Is Sheamus believable enough at this point in his career, and we'll go in-depth later on Sheamus' career, but is he believable enough at this point to be in such a prominent role?
They did the same thing with Brock Lesnar.
True.
They did something
SummerSlam 2002.
They did something similar with Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they were around just a hair longer, though.
Well, they may be, but right now, Sheamus has just a different look.
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
It's
sort of like this.
It's almost transparent, But,
so many people have complained for so long about WWE not elevating new talents. And let's not forget, WWE did a survey, an email survey, a couple of months back about the fans' thoughts of their pay-per-view product and their product overall. And one of the questions in that survey was, why don't you buy pay-per-views? Is it because of ABCD? One of those options was seeing the same stars every month. And Jesse Ventura said a lot of true stuff as the guest host this past Monday night on Raw. And the result we see, Sheamus in the main event going up against John Cena at TLC. I don't think it's too soon. I am excited by it. Sheamus is something special. There is no doubt about that. Whether it be his look, whether it be his sheer physical dominance, or whether it be his wrestling abilities, or whether it be his connections in the business, it doesn't matter. What matters is...
Are you considering politics?
From what we've heard from so many of the superstars that have come on this program, politics plays a huge role in professional wrestling.
Yes. It's good to play the game.
It is good to play the game. But what does this say for the ECW concept? A lot of people have been knocking ECW over the past few years because it's watered down. It's not the ECW of old. People falter over there. But we saw Sheamus come up through ECW, which was for a very short time. Had a program with Goldust, had a program with Shelton Benjamin, but came up through ECW. And then a month later, after debuting on Raw, he's now thrust into the main event picture. What does this say for ECW?
You know what, ECW, here's how it goes. It goes Florida Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Then they call
Which
the guys
is
up
WWE
to
development
right.
territory.
Then they call the guys up to ECW, and then from there it's either Raw or SmackDown.
It's a brilliant step in between. And I have said many a time that they are using ECW perfectly for their company. And that is to test out new stars. Christian being the champion, again, it's proving how smart that is because he is a very talented worker. And he can work with a lot of these people. Having the Goldusts over there, same thing, can work with a lot of these people. Maybe even that's why Shelton Benjamin's over there, because he can work with a lot of people as well. You get this opportunity to work with some of these people who know what they're doing in the ring, and then you move up to one of the big shows. And a lot of people, from the feedback we've gotten, didn't necessarily know Sheamus even existed until he appeared on Raw.
When was the last time they called ECW Extreme Championship Wrestling?
You know what? They do still do it on occasion with the promos for the show that air on Spike TV. We go Extreme Tuesday night or something like that. But as far as on the actual program, I don't even know the last time they've done that.
Yeah, they don't. They come out with Abraham Washington, Tony Atlas in the beginning. But no, I mean, Sheamus got to be just too big for ECW. And you know what? There's money in there. And I still believe that not this year or next year, maybe the year after, whatnot, the big money main event one day will be Sheamus versus Jack Swagger.
If not Sheamus, who should it have been? They're holding true to their word that John Cena and Randy Orton will not fight for the championship again.
I think Jack Swagger. He had a great match with John Cena earlier in the year.
Sure.
Jack Swagger is a star. They just haven't found the right spot for him yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Sheamus is apparently WWE's next.
Okay.
It's apparently WWE's next big thing in the interest of time.
Oh,
we're going to move forward. We got a lot of segments, a lot of show. I talk about Hulk Hogan's recent interview with a Perth, Australia radio station, which is very newsworthy. And next, actually, we're going to go into Versus. It's our fantasy wrestling segment. And you can submit your ideas for Versus, just like this week's submitter, John Funk, who submitted this fantasy matchup. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, former Intercontinental Champion, I believe former WCW or NWA Champion several times as well, versus the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Let's break it down. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, 5'10" tall, 235 pounds, from Honolulu, Hawaii, by way of West Point, New York. Way of West Point, New York. Finishing move is a diving crossbody. Going up against a man still actively competing to this day, Shawn Michaels, HBK. 6'1" tall, 225 pounds, from San Antonio, Texas, by way of Chandler, Arizona. And his finishing move is Sweet Chin Music. An interesting matchup between two amazingly sound technical athletes.
I'm going a 60-minute draw.
A 60-minute draw that would be worth every minute of it.
Yeah. That's what they would call going a Broadway. But, I mean, you take Ricky Steamboat at his best, which it's probably, what, 91, 92?
I'd say somewhere between 88 and 91.
Okay. And then you get Shawn Michaels between 96 and 99, around there.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about two guys that can go.
What a match.
That would make the Bret Hart-Shawn Michaels Iron match look like Kamala versus Big John Studd.
Maybe that'll be next week's fantasy matchup.
It very well could be. I mean, those two guys can go. I mean, the matches that Steamboat had with Flair are legendary. The matches that Bret Hart had with Shawn Michaels are legendary. But to take those two guys who... Ricky Steamboat, the ultimate babyface, the ultimate good guy.
He was never heel, was he?
I think when he first started out, he might have been, but I'm not too sure, when he was Richard Blood. But, and then you take Shawn Michaels, who during that whole DX time era, when he was the heel, not when he was the champ, his first run, great match. I can't pick a winner.
Who's more crafty is the question I ask myself in this matchup. And the craftiest of those two stars would have to be Shawn Michaels. Thus, I would say he would be the winner of that match. He'd pull it out of somewhere, somehow. After Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Shawn Michaels put on this is cliched, but a clinic for, I would agree, as much as an hour, if not slightly longer, this would be a match of the decade or century candidate.
With the exception of the Honky Tonk Man, I cannot remember a match where Ricky Steamboat got screwed in the finish.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
Ricky Steamboat.
What about when Randy Savage crushed his larynx? That was after the match, wasn't
That
it?
was after the match. But I've yet to see Ricky Steamboat lose a big match. And don't say WrestleMania against Jericho, because that's, you know, you can't say that.
That's only as far back as some memories go, though.
I know, for some people. You know, YouTube Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with Ric Flair, you know, with him against the Horsemen, just some of the great matches that he put together.
And I could be wrong.
Ricky Steamboat and Rick Rude, great matches.
I could be wrong, but check out the history of the Rise and Fall of WCW DVD or any of the Ric Flair DVDs that have been released by WWE. As a matter of fact, I think on the most recent one, they spend quite a bit of time on there talking about the relationship between Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair, and several of those matches are featured on that DVD.
They put Ricky Steamboat versus Ric Flair, a Clash of Champions, head-to-head with WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And
I believe they went an hour that night, if not 40, at least
that was
45
the
minutes.
WrestleMania with, I think that was
It was WrestleMania 3, I think it was.
no, it was when it was WrestleMania 5. It was
Okay.
Hogan and Savage.
Thank you for that suggestion, John Funk. A great suggestion for sure for this week's Versus segment. Remember, you can send your fantasy matchup suggestions to us at comments.
So, you think that Shawn Michaels would beat Ricky Steamboat with Sweet Chin Music?
I didn't say that. I said I think he would find somehow, some way to eventually win the matchup. He's craftier than Steamboat was. Steamboat's excellent.
Well, because he's
Shawn
the
Michaels,
babyface.
excellent.
Babyfaces aren't supposed to be crafty.
Okay, but you can't fault him for it.
No, of course not.
You didn't even pick a winner, though.
I did. I said a draw.
Nobody wins in a draw. That's that other column
I
after the wins
have
and
to pick
losses.
the finish, and you know what? Fine, then I'll pick Ricky Steamboat.
Because I picked Shawn Michaels.
Well, no, because I can see Ricky Steamboat hitting Shawn Michaels with the crossbody to beat him. I can't see Shawn Michaels hitting Sweet Chin Music on Ricky Steamboat.
All right, interesting discussion, to say the least. Thank you very much. And again, you can submit your ideas to comments at pwrshow.com. Well, David Hero, Hulk Hogan has opened his mouth again. And every time he does so, it becomes less and less intriguing as to what he's going to do to help TNA Wrestling, and more concerning as to what he may do to hurt TNA Wrestling.
He's going to hurt TNA Wrestling. The
Here's-
comments he makes should not make anybody feel comfortable about this decision.
Especially Dixie Carter, in my opinion. Here's what Hogan said recently. He did an interview earlier this week on Sport FM 91.3 in Perth, Australia. And in reference to his role in TNA, Hogan says the following, and I quote, "While I signed a deal with Dixie Carter to come in as her partner, I know there are several people on the show, storyline-wise, who say they are part of TNA management, such as Mick Foley and Jeff Jarrett. But this situation is for real. I'm going to turn this thing upside down. I'm going to pick the whole wrestling business up and body slam it, and whoever's not on my team, on Team Hogan at TNA, they're going to be at the bottom of the pile. Just like I did in the early 90s, once I went to work for Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner, they became the #1 wrestling promotion in the world."
Jeff Jarrett does legitimately own part of TNA.
Was it like 0.08%
No,
now?
it's like 5 or 6%, but you still, you know.
As far as we know.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, he just called out Jeff Jarrett.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
Here
wow.
are the troubling things here. It's all about Hogan.
It always has been about Hogan. I'm a Hulkamaniac.
Brother.
I loved Hulk Hogan growing up. He was my guy. I mean, you know, who didn't? You know? But, wow, I'm concerned. I don't know if TNA can handle this kind of trauma or stress or tension.
Uprising. What does Dixie Carter think? What should Dixie Carter be thinking when comments like this are made by her partner, if you will, Hulk Hogan? She's supposed to be the face of the company. She's supposed to be the person in charge. She's owning things. She's running things. We saw that segment a couple of weeks ago on Impact saying she's in charge. You're either with her or against her, with the direction or not with the direction. Yet you have Hulk Hogan on the other side saying you're either with him or you're not. Or maybe Dixie's
You
part
know
of Team
what?
Hogan.
Right
It's
now,
a little confusing.
She has to be part of Team Hogan. I mean, she's putting all of her eggs in that one basket right now. And that basket is red and yellow.
Hopefully it's got a firm base, does that basket. Hogan goes on to say this. When asked how will Hulk Hogan revolutionize the wrestling industry yet again, he says, "One thing I would change, and I'm going to change, is I hate writers. I cannot stand that they have a writing team sitting in the back telling wrestlers what to say and telling the wrestlers what to do in the ring. That's one of the reasons why I went to TNA, because the other promotion, that's what they're all about, scripting the verbiage and scripting the matches and telling the wrestlers what to do. They have a team of writers in the back that don't understand the business. They've never been to the big show. They've never been in the big main events. All the writers are either wrestlers that are mid-card wrestlers, or they were family members that were handed a pen and a paper and told, 'You've learned what you've learned from our family, now keep writing.' They've never learned the wrestling business from being in the middle of the ring, in the main event, in front of 20, 30, 40, 90,000 people." A lot said there as well. Obviously some jabs at the McMahon family.
It's a big jab.
Obviously some jabs at some of the current writing staff in TNA. Now what this has been reported as across the IWC is that Hogan's going to fire Vince Russo when he gets there. If you listen to the entire interview, Hogan elaborated on this statement and said that they're going to have a chance, but that chance may not be writing the shows. It could be something else for them in the company. So he didn't explicitly state, and obviously, a lot of heat there, a lot of perceived heat there between Hogan and Russo. But David Hero, these comments here about the writers in wrestling, and Hogan worked with a lot of them, which is why this is a little confusing towards the end of his career. But keep in mind, he's always had full creative control.
But the two he worked with were Russo and Ferreira. That almost sabotaged his career.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan's patient. He does things.
He's meticulous,
Yes.
deliberate,
Yes, he
manipulative.
is.
And all those things get you the success that he's got in the business.
That's why you're number one. You look out for yourself first.
Final question that we'll cover from this interview with Hulk Hogan on Sport FM 91 in Perth, Australia. He says, in reference to his match with The Rock at WrestleMania 18, and listen to this one closely, a lot of interesting points in this as well. You have to give the fans what they want, and that's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to do the Hulkamania tour, and then when I leave here, I'm going back to the United States, and when I work for TNA, I'm going to turn the wrestling business upside down. That's the same thing that happened at WrestleMania 18. Vince McMahon wanted me to be the bad guy. Vince McMahon wanted to put a bullet in Hulkamania. Vince McMahon put me up against his number one good guy, The Rock, who had a big push. And when I went out in front of 70,000 people in Toronto, the fans told Vince McMahon what they wanted, and they booed The Rock out of the building. They proved that the fans predict this business. The fans predict what the atmosphere and the environment in this business is all about. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to TNA, and I'm going to listen to those fans and give them what they want. I'm not going to keep shoving a bunch of terrible, horrible, stale programming down their throats. I'm going to listen to the fans. I'm going to take all the writers and tell them, go get another job. Sit in the back. If I need you to write a jingle for a commercial, maybe we'll use you for that. This is the wrestling business. If these wrestlers can't talk and these wrestlers can't wrestle, they need to head for the door.
He just buried his own company.
Mm-hmm. And the point there where he did that was saying this. I'm not going to keep shoving a bunch of terrible, horrible, stale programming down their throats. Now, obviously, the inference there is against TNA. But I would venture to say he was talking about wrestling in general, but TNA is a part of it.
When he listens to the fans, and the fans say we want AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and the Machine Guns, and then Hogan's going to bring in Beefcake, Virgil, and the Nasty Boys.
It's because I don't want to believe that that's going to happen. I just can't.
You know what's going to happen. I've been saying it from day one. The Nasty Boys will be in TNA.
I hope not.
Well,
I'll just say that. I hope not. I see no upside to that at all. None. It's all down.
imagine the Nasty Boys against Team 3D.
Imagine what?
Imagine
crap,
Nasty
imagine
Boys
stuff.
and British Invasion.
You have good build in TNA right now. You have solid young stars.
You know what? I disagree. If there was a good, strong build in TNA right now, they'd be doing far better in ratings. More people would know about it. They haven't used anything there.
But that's
the right way.
that's the marketing thing. I think that has more to do with marketing than anything else. Because how are they going to gain new viewers? It's not because people flipping by on Thursday night and saying, "Oh, this is good." Because in this day and age, flippers don't stop. Flippers need a reason to stop. I think Hogan may be that reason, but right now, especially with a lot of the larger stars gone, there's no reason to stop. I think they need to get what their product is. Because really, can you sit there right now and define what TNA's product is? Cross the line. What does that mean? What is their product? What is their hook?
No.
You know, WWE's got the power of USA Network behind them. They've got the power of their own brand behind them.
Well, they got the NBC network behind them also.
Exactly, and they use all those things. There is maybe not a better sports company as it pertains to marketing than WWE is. That's really their core business is marketing. And they do it so excellently that...
Well, their production value is off the charts.
Yeah, no one
I mean,
can touch
the NFL, I mean, we can all make jokes about the XFL, but the NFL stole a lot of ideas from the XFL.
That little camera you see running up and down the field on the wire, that was an XFL idea. It won't be till January. I really, at this point, don't know what to expect from Hulk Hogan's involvement in TNA. Nor do I know what I want.
You know what I can expect?
Not those people.
A locker room divided.
For us or against us?
Yep.
Us versus them would not be a good scenario for TNA.
And here's the thing. The ones that don't want to be there with Hogan, where are they going to go? They'll have no leverage at all if their contracts are up to go anywhere else.
Well, maybe they'll be told that if they want out, they can leave now, even though they couldn't leave a couple days earlier.
Right. You know what? This is crucial for TNA.
It's make or break.
I mean, it's and it's like, you know, I'm not saying it for people to take it lightly. It's really crucial because people in the back are already concerned. People in the back are already looking at their contracts to see what kind of outs they're going to have.
Based on Hogan's reputation. And, quite frankly, based on interviews like this.
Oh, yeah.
Hogan's not talking to the talent. Hogan's doing all these interviews and promotional things around the world, saying what he's going to do, and I think a lot of it's based off of assumption, because I can't imagine he sat home every Thursday night and watched Impact. I can't imagine he's been watching all the pay-per-views. I can't imagine, while he mentions AJ Styles as one of the up-and-comers in the company, that's the only new guy he talks about. The others are Sting and Kurt Angle.
Sting, who needs to retire.
Absolutely.
And Kurt Angle needs a break.
Absolutely. He is beat down.
So he just...
Still tremendous, by the way.
He probably saw their recent pay-per-view poster and saw those three guys on there and mentioned them.
In Hogan's mind, you go back, in always, you go back to what you know. And what does Hogan know? And this is why I keep hoping that it won't happen, but Hogan knows those talents that were huge in WWE, those talents that were huge in WCW.
So Virgil, Beefcake, Nasty Boys, Valentine.
Almost 10 years ago now, though. WCW hasn't been big and was gone in 2001. Hogan's involvement in WWE in 2002 and 2003, he was a part-timer. So I can't imagine, I don't know what parts of the business he was really involved in, but his hook and what he's thinking is, as a man who has been as big as he is in the business, he has the ability to run a company. That's not going to be the case. I don't think. I don't think the two go hand in hand. I think he's going to bring tremendous insight, tremendous star power to TNA, but I don't think him running the company would be the best thing ever. Look at when Vince Russo went over to WCW. He was great on a team in WWE. He wasn't as great individually in WCW. Thank you for continuing to do interviews, Hulk Hogan, and giving us things to talk about. Star of the week, Dave Hero.
Wow. Should I leave? Are you kidding me?
No, I get
Are
confused.
you kidding?
I get
confused?
Star of the week. Each week, I select a star of the week, a person who deserves accolades for where they are this week in the business. And this week...
You really called me meathead? I can't believe this.
This week's star of the week is...
I gotta call Cal.
Cal's right there. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah. Get my contract out.
Oh, wait. I thought opinionists didn't have contracts.
Well, I have an opinion contract. It's all about opinions.
Star of the week, Kofi Kingston. I'm not going to do it. An amazing athlete. And I've been saying this since day one. An amazing athlete, a tremendously athletically talented performer in WWE. A man who got brushed off at No Way Out 2009. Remember, he was supposed to be in the main event, and Edge took his spot after nailing. A year later, less than a year later, he is now in a top program with Randy Orton.
With the top heel in the company.
And owning Randy Orton repeatedly. And I'm not sure that would work with any other talent. Maybe Jericho. Because Orton can sell the situation so well that you still hate Orton. Or you still like Orton. Kofi Kingston's being put in a tremendous spot. I would say probably even higher right now than Sheamus. Because long term, there could be more play. I know you think Sheamus is going to win the championship at TLC. I'm not necessarily on that same page. But Kofi Kingston, contrary to what you said several weeks ago on this program, is going to be a huge star in this business.
You know what? And God bless Kofi Kingston. They finally got it right. They got rid of the accent. They lost the whole Jamaican
Which
gimmick.
Triple H had to point out, that stupid DX
But
segment.
think about it. If he still had all that, and they didn't make him a serious wrestler, he would not be in the spot he is right now.
And that was the key, to make him marketable.
Whoa, really? Isn't that what I said?
Yes.
He needs T-shirts. Now he's going to have T-shirts.
Get rid of the accent because it was limiting. Get rid of all the fake story that had been set up about bringing him in.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's his core talent and ability that's getting him where he's going.
And he's actually shown more ability now than he ever has before.
It's Kofi Unleashed.
He is. And so, you know what? I apologize. I made a mistake.
No. You're an opinionist.
No,
you
no,
gave your
right,
opinion
right.
at the time. And what is able to happen on this program is opinions change.
And I'm the first to admit, if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong, and I was wrong. But back when we first talked about it, I compared him to Jimmy Snuka because he was a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi is no longer a gimmick. Now he's a superstar.
He is this week's Star of the Week. I am very intrigued to see what happens going forward with Kofi Kingston.
But just so you know, him and Sheamus are kind of on the same level. Kofi is feuding with the top heel,
Absolutely.
and Sheamus is now working with the top babyface.
Absolutely.
Much like our Evan Bourne and Cody Rhodes discussion.
Oh, you just cue up what you just said a few moments ago? Because you'll be saying it again when Cody is
Cody Rhodes will
in a
not
better
be
position.
bigger star.
No. Yes, he will be in a better position than Evan Bourne. Let's give it 6 months.
Well, hold on. That's fine,
6
but
months.
here's the thing. The Brooklyn Brawler wrestled the main event against Shawn Michaels in Madison Square Garden 15 years ago. Anyone can be in a top spot.
A sustained top spot.
Evan Bourne will have a far more consistent...
And I'm an Evan Bourne fan. Don't get me wrong. Evan Bourne's an amazing talent. I mark out for his finisher every time he does it.
What's Cody's finisher? No, really. What does he do? What's his finisher?
Kind of DDT.
Absolutely. See, you can't even tell what his finisher is, and he's your top star.
No. I didn't say that. My top star, obviously, is Star of the Week, is Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, but you're saying that
The
Cody's a bigger
comparison
star.
is, I said, no. I said Cody was a bigger star than Evan Bourne.
And you need to clarify why he only wears one elbow pad. Because the universe has no idea what you were talking about.
Let me clarify that. He's the son of a preacher man. The son of Dusty Rhodes. Dusty wore how many elbow pads? Because of the bionic elbow, which was a big moment in any match. Cody doesn't do it, but it's sort of a tribute.
Because
to
he's
Dusty.
too short, he can't get on top of the guy's head.
That's just hate. Right there, that's hate.
That's not. It's
Cal, do you
being
have a pink
honest.
pearl eraser so he can erase the hate over here? That's just hate.
You called me meathead. How could I not get hot about that?
This week's Star of the Week, Kofi Kingston.
And I second that.
You second that.
Yes.
The 2009 Pro Wrestling Report honors coming up in just a couple of weeks' time. Thank you to the countless thousands of you who have voted at PWRshow.com. The finalists are set. Voting continues at PWRshow.com. I think you'd be amazed at the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe has been doing the tabulations, and I've been pretty surprised at who the leaders are in some categories. Let's run down those categories again, which are available now for voting at PWRshow.com. TNA Pay-Per-View of the Year, WWE Pay-Per-View of the Year, and to that point, much like the music awards and a lot of other award shows that happen, there's always some show or some artist that should be included but just ain't gonna be. We're not able to include Turning Point, Survivor Series, TLC, all that stuff, because it wouldn't be fair, nor would interjecting them now be fair to the voting that has happened already. So look for those in the 2010 Pro Wrestling Report honors. Match of the Year, Breakout Star of the Year, Most Shocking Moment of the Year, Broadcast Team of the Year, Female Wrestler of the Year,
Which I'm very pleased that Alicia Fox is leading that right now.
Tag Team Wrestler of the Year, and Wrestler of the Year are the categories in the 2009 Pro Wrestling Report honors. And that show will be available on December 11th. We're going to be 7 o'clock p.m. Friday night, December 11th. Available at pwrshow.com first. Be sure to tune in and see who won. It's going to be a fun show. Make sure you also download this week's ESPN radio show. ODB was our guest, and she was
awesome.
Champion. And be sure to drop that and pick that up on iTunes. Time to go in-depth, David Hero. And this week's in-depth star is Sheamus. Let's give you a little bit of information about where the Celtic Warrior came from and how he got to the spot he is now, main eventing TLC with John Cena. Born on January 28, 1978, younger than you and I. He's an Irish professional wrestler, obviously, and was born in Cabra, Dublin, but raised in North Great Georgia Street, Dublin. Speaks fluent Irish, obviously, for those reasons. Little known fact, sang in a choir up until the age of 13. Good Sheamus.
Not surprised.
He also played Gaelic football for the Erin's Isle team. Also played rugby for the National College of Ireland. He's also a former information technologies technician.
He's an IT guy?
He's an IT guy. There's an app for that.
So he's smart. See, that's why he's a future world champion.
Personal security guard for Bono and also Denise Van Houten.
God bless you.
Thank you, Roddy Piper. He trained in Larry Sharp's Monster Factory in 2002. However, shortly debuted thereafter and suffered a pretty serious neck injury, which kept him out of the ring for 2 years. He returned in 2004 to the newly opened Irish Whip Wrestling School in Dublin, Ireland. Debuted again shortly thereafter. First appearance in WWE was actually on Raw, where he was a security guard and was pedigreed by Triple H, as he was the last security guard standing. At that point, he also had a WWE tryout, followed with another WWE tryout in April of 2007, and a dark match against Jimmy Wang Yang, and then working several house shows from there. Later in 2007, he signed a WWE developmental contract and was reported to FCW, where he became champion, defeating Jack Swagger same year. Yes.
See, there's history right there.
Right there, they know each other.
Yes. It's like how Rock and Austin kind of, had their stardom at the same time.
He debuted on
Set the
ECW
stars.
June of 2009, debuted on Raw October of 2009, and became
Almost
number
4
one
months
contender this past Monday night on WWE Raw. So that's all the quick and dirty about Sheamus, Stephen Farrelly in WWE.
I can't say it enough. The guy, here's the thing, he's a gimmick also.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that different look.
But I think a gimmick that could be sustained.
He could have a potential to have almost a good 10-year run.
As Sheamus?
Yeah, Sheamus. How do you change it?
I was intrigued this past Monday. I was disappointed Sunday at the Survivor Series when him and Finlay had basically no contact, or really, he just sort of squashed Finlay out of the match. And then Monday night, we had the match between Finlay and Sheamus. I don't know, I think it was just a
There
gimmick.
was
that I
way
liked.
too many squashes at the Survivor Series.
Well, it's a lot of time to get those matches out of the way. I don't know. I mean, Finlay's gimmick has worked.
But they've never had a guy that big. They've never.
He is huge, and I'm not sure anyone really can tell how huge he is.
He's a monster. And it's great for international tours.
Absolutely. Well, that is all that we have to tell you for this week, and also our in-depth superstar Sheamus. We're going to be back with a brand new episode of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN Radio next Tuesday night, 10 o'clock p.m. Be sure to tune in. Hope all of you had a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and we will see you again next Wednesday. Brand new edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive, and then next Friday with another edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. Next Saturday, David Hero, Blizzard Brawl.
Blizzard Brawl 5, biggest show of the year.
Bobby the Brain Heenan Day has been announced in Milwaukee. Milwaukee will be honoring December 5th, honoring Bobby the Brain Heenan, who is making his first appearance in over 3 years at GLCW's Blizzard Brawl 5. BlizzardBrawl.com for tickets for that event. Again, that's BlizzardBrawl.com. I understand we might have some front row seats that might come available, so keep checking the website to find out about that. BlizzardBrawl.com. It is, as you say, the biggest independent wrestling event in the country each year.
Hands down. How can that be?
Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. We will see you again Tuesday night on 540 ESPN.